I'm Nicole Nalepa, and you're listening to Mommyhood Unscripted, real talk about moms for moms. Hey everyone, welcome to Mommyhood Unscripted. So glad you found us here. Motherhood is what I'm describing as a comedic journey. There are things that you cannot make up, and there are things that you just can't expect along the way. And what's even better is when we all share those experiences together. Sometimes we're a bit apprehensive, we're a little embarrassed, we don't want to put it out there. But one mom who is not afraid to bear all and put it out there is Nicole Burch. And she is our mommy profile today in this special episode of Mommyhood Unscripted. Nicole is a comedian, a viral sensation, by the way, amassing with over 60 million views on the platforms. And she's also an alum of Groundlings. And perhaps you've seen her also on your streaming services because she has critically acclaimed comedy specials Never Been Kissed and Mama Drama. And right now she's touring around the country and she's chronicling her journey through her stand-up show from single motherhood, talking about pregnancy, her birth experience, and also ultimately meeting the love of her life. So, LA Weekly has dubbed her the Taylor Swift of comedy, but I'm going to dub her not only an amazing real person on stage, but as you'll find out in this conversation, an amazing real person off stage. So, I hope you enjoyed this conversation with Nicole Burch.
Having my daughter was a surprise, obviously was not planned to begin with. So like by doing this, it's something that really, again, like you said, it's relatable. And then on top of that, my kid is such a cornerstone of my life right now. So to like not talk about it, I think would be missing out on a lot of opportunities. And yeah, so it's been a blast getting to like put her in my content. And at the end of my comedy special, that aired in March, she actually comes out on the stage and gets to do a little bow. So it was actually a really good moment. Yeah.
So you grew up in the Midwest in Kansas, right?
Yes. Yep.
What was it like growing up there?
I mean, it was pretty ideal. You know, it was suburban, middle America. Every holiday was filled with tons of people. All of my family, you know, my parents were divorced when I was 2, but I had such a good relationship with both of them and both sides of the family. In fact, I've lived in LA for 16 years and
Wow.
we just moved back to Kansas City literally yesterday.
Oh my gosh, congratulations.
Yeah, I drove with a 5-year-old from Los Angeles to Kansas City, which is a 23-hour drive, if you're asking.
Wow.
We stopped in New Mexico, obviously, for the night. And she did great. Moms, you can do it. She did amazing. It was only an hour of iPad time. I'm very proud of myself
Oh,
for
I am very
that.
proud of you too. That's impressive.
I know. I mean, that's going to be a polarizing, whenever you talk about electronics. But she did absolutely great. We landed and then we flew out to New York today for all my East Coast shows. So we have not settled, obviously, in Kansas City yet. But when it came to like raising her and where I wanted her to have like be surrounded by family and the community and great education systems, that's the main reason why I chose to do that. So,
Isn't
yeah.
it funny how we pivot, once we have kids, you have like this romanticized version of who you will be. And then
Hmm.
when kids come along, it's like, oh, wait a second. This is kind of changing the course of where I saw myself a little bit.
Changes. I think that's something I'm going to start talking about more is like how much it changes your perspective and your purpose changes. And I think I always thought that when people have kids, especially if they're in entertainment, that when they have kids and they move or they like stop doing certain things as much or like stop acting or stop writing, I always thought they were giving up. And now I was like, oh, there's something else happening. Like they're just refocused and it changes your whole life. And it's not in a bad way. Like she's given me so much more perspective, so much more material, so much all the stuff that you want in entertainment anyway. But there's just certain things I'm not willing to give up. And that's like, a comedian normally does 42 weeks a year. I'm doing half of that because I want to be at home with her. Do you know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, absolutely. And good for you, for realizing that because I think, as women, in our careers, you know, we know what we want, but then at the
Hmm.
same time, we know that there are sacrifices that we're willing to make for our children, which is so
Yeah.
important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree with that. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you were raised by a single mom.
Yes. Yes.
And when you found yourself, oh, I'm having a baby, and you speak a lot about this in your shows,
Right.
but you really changed the trajectory of that, right? You found the love of your life.
I did. And probably Everly was about 2.5 when we met, when I met
Wow.
my husband. And it's very girl, it is very cliche. It was after a show I was doing in Dallas, Texas. It's like such a comedian cliche when you meet somebody like that. I will say he was also a very good friend of mine's brother. So, like,
Okay.
she brought him to the show. And I'd known her for over a decade. And yeah, that kind of changed the course. Again, I never wanted to be a single mom. And as my therapist says, sometimes we create what we fear the most. And so from that, meeting him changed everything. I was no longer, I would say, white knuckling it with
Hmm.
motherhood and the sleep deprivation. And even obviously, she's 2.5. So that wasn't as bad as it used to be. But doing everything on your own, it just starts wearing you down. And and I always thought I'm going to be that strong person that pushes through it, but day after day after day it can really start to affect you. And he just came in like Superman, and his whole he's one of those guys who's just, I always call them like a boat dad or a T-ball dad. Like, he was just made to be a father figure. And so them together, I mean, they're out at Central Park right now, like having a blast. I
Oh.
know. And so he changed everything. But the first few years of single motherhood, yeah, those are hard. I feel like my heart goes out to everybody that's going through that. It's really
Hmm.
difficult. Yeah.
But how awesome is that you can see things on the other side, when you
Yes.
find that partner, that you can also share your family and your life with, and just like the universe aligns, it sounds like.
Yes, and like your podcast, like how much it's about supporting other mothers and supporting women. And I think that that is such an undercurrent that I was missing. I didn't realize how even the tiniest bit of support would help. But like when he came in, it was just a huge game changer. And I'm so grateful to be on that side of it. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm very
Yeah.
happy for you for
Thank
that. That's
you.
awesome.
Thank you.
So, did you know that you always wanted to be a comedian?
When I first moved to LA, I was like, I want to be a serious dramatic actress. And that lasted 2 days. Uh, I even took very serious headshots, and he's like, "Do you want to like smile or a pop of color?" And I was like, "No, I want to be very serious." And then I auditioned for the Groundlings and started doing that. I've always had a sense of humor, but I don't think I really wanted to be on Saturday Night Live, as everybody who goes through Groundlings wants to do. And through that process, I learned writing skills that were, I mean, they train you to be on SNL. Like, their training ground is amazing. And they taught me to be a better writer, a better performer, everything. And I took that. And when my time there was done, I took that and I decided to start doing stand up and writing, like, I don't want to say one woman shows, but definitely female centered shows. And all of my material is inspirational comedy. I want everybody to leave feeling inspired, that even if something bad happens or you're in the trenches, that there's light at the end of the tunnel. And so that's kind of when I segued into stand up. Yeah.
I love that. And I,
Yeah.
I I feel like you have like your own niche too with this because I mean, yes, there are comedians that talk about mom stuff, but for some reason, I feel like not everyone is willing to just dedicate like their whole routine to that, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of truth that, and like I was saying, it's so refreshing to hear you, yes, it's funny when you look back at some experiences, right? Like everyone's birth story and experiences. Yeah, like there are some
Right.
haha moments, can't believe that happened. But
Absolutely.
then the way that you tell it and then the audience can relate, it's also kind of unbelievable.
The best part I have when I'm doing stand up is there's a moment there's 2 times I ask for like audience engagement a little bit, and the women, you can tell who the mothers are immediately. There's a part where I'm like, when I was 9 months pregnant, I was like, I know I have the perfect birth plan. And the women all start chuckling
Mm-hmm.
because they're like, that is an oxymoron, that a birth plan does not exist. And after the show, so many women come up to me and share their own birth story,
Mm-hmm.
or share. Recently, I had somebody share like they're in the trenches with the terrible twos, and she's just like, I just white knuckling it through the day, and it's relatable. And I think that that's the thing, especially when you're on social media and stuff. You can type about breastfeeding or whatever, and there's going to be a very polarizing viewpoint. But when
Right.
you're in the audience and people want to share the story and women just want to be heard and like been like, oh, I understand what you're saying. And that makes it worth it. That's the best part.
Absolutely. I mean, even from your experiences with breastfeeding to,
Oh my
just
gosh.
life with a toddler, it's real. It's real. It can be funny, but it's real.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's chaos. It's chaos, but
It's
there's like joy in the chaos. Yeah.
right, exactly. It's all about finding that joy, and you are bringing that joy to moms out there.
Thank
No,
you.
it's
Thank you.
great. So at what point before you became a mom, how would you describe your comedy?
It was it was the stereotypical, very raunchy. It was like, I mean, I did talk about what dating was like in Los Angeles and for our generation and that it was difficult. And that stuff was fine. But it was I cringe at some of the stuff because I did a lot of stuff for shock value, very raunchy. And there's also something I gotta say about becoming a mom that makes me cleaner, like
Mm.
so much cleaner, where I'm like, oh, I just haven't cursed in so long. So now I just don't do it anymore. And here's the weirdest thing. It's been received so much better on a broader scale, right? Because
Right.
if you have that kind of raunchiness, you're gonna lose like 30% of the audience. And with that, like I think it's hilarious that having my daughter who cleaned up my act literally and figuratively ended up getting a better bandwidth. Yeah.
What is it like to be called the Taylor Swift of comedy? That is
Oh,
a,
that was
I mean,
yeah.
anything with Taylor Swift's name holds a lot of weight,
I
right?
was I was ready for it. That's definitely when I was talking about all my dating experiences. I did a show called The Seven Guys You Date Before You Get Married. And so it was putting a lot of those relationships, I say on blast, but I make fun of myself the most in that I don't, run their name through the mud or anything like that. But we do, I don't really do insult comedy. I don't like that. But kind of talking about each relationship and somebody, LA Weekly called me the Taylor Swift of comedy. And so we started putting the Taylor Swift songs in between each scene that we were doing in the play. And it added so much to the flavor of the show. It was so great. It was great.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, way to like play on top of that, which is cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was great.
And with your two specials that you've done, in particular, Mama Drama, that's something people can go and watch in the comfort of their home too if they can't make it to your
Right.
show,
Yes.
or if they're checking out, oh, what kind of comedy does she do?
Yeah.
What is it like to tape a comedy special like that? And especially, with the theme of the moms.
It's so funny because when people would ask me what my favorite part of that day was, it was when my daughter walked out on stage afterwards.
Aw.
Because I'll get emotional, but like she was 2.5. She was so tiny and like she did her little bow. And I'm like, when did you even learn what a bow
Oh my
was? Like you
gosh.
haven't been in dance yet, you know? And that's honestly everything else I kind of blacked out. I'd been doing it so long and I had so much fun on stage, but there's that part of us as moms, like even as you're, interviewing me, there's a part of you who's already clocking where your kids are right now. And you're like, I wonder if did I give them that? Did I give them the sippy cup? Did I give them? And so I just knew she was backstage and I was like, oh man, I hope she's okay. Like that's just part of the biological part of it.
Yeah.
Um, but to perform it on that kind of scale and that kind of production where everything was just taken care of and you get out there and the audience greeted me with a standing ovation, which you can probably tell. I don't know if you can tell. I was not expecting that. And so that was the energy the whole time. Was everybody was so in it. I was in it. It was a great moment. And again, afterwards, a lot of moms came up and had a lot to share, which is beautiful.
Yeah. Was there a moment in your career when you started doing the mom content where you said, "Oh, oh, this is it. This is what I got to stick to."
Yes, it's when I shared my sleep deprivation bit about when I thought I lost my daughter. So I'm in an apartment by myself. Can I share this real quick?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Oh,
okay,
please.
okay.
Yeah.
So we lived in a third floor apartment. The garage was in the basement. So 4 stories different. And I had this terrible fear. We hear about people leaving kids in cars when it's hot. And I just,
Yeah.
that fear was embedded in my brain. And I remember being in the apartment. I had had maybe 3 hours sleep in 4 days total.
Oh
It
my
was
gosh.
it was terrible. She was like, I don't want to say she was colicky. I would say maybe like temporarily there was like 3 days that were not great.
Yep.
And I was not sleeping at all. And I remember looking in the living room and being like, oh my gosh, where's the baby? And then without looking around, I ran downstairs, looked in my car. She's not there. Okay, she's fine. Then I ran all the way back upstairs, opened the door, and immediately forgot what I had done. But the thought came back in my head. So I panicked again and I ran back downstairs. I went up and down 4 flights of stairs like 9 times in an hour. I was drenched in sweat. By the way, we have an elevator. So this tells you how
How
tired I
frantic.
was.
Yeah, yeah.
So I get inside, the calm comes over me. I was like, Nicole, she's not in the car. Oh my gosh, go get her. She's in the crib. And I go to get her and she's not there. And I'm like, wait a minute. And then I look everywhere. I look in the dog bed. I look in the freezer. I'm looking the DockATot, the bassinet, the rocker. I'm looking everywhere and I cannot find her. I call my mom and I'm screaming. And I'm like, Mom, I don't know where she is. I don't know where I lost the baby. And then my mom's like, what do you mean you lost the baby? And she's screaming and I'm screaming. I'm crying. I'm like, I don't know what happened. I
Oh,
lost my. And then we hear her coo. And it's the happiest baby coo you've ever heard. And my mom goes, God, wait, where was she? She was strapped to my chest in the baby Bjorn the whole time.
oh my God.
Girl, girl,
Oh my word.
I was so sleep deprived. And
Oh,
all the me walking and up and down the steps was just bouncing her further into sleep. So she was out.
oh my
I
gosh.
had no idea where she was. That's true sleep
Wow.
deprivation. That's when you're
Yeah.
like, I should not be operating a vehicle.
Yeah.
And when I shared that story, the moms afterwards were like, oh my gosh, there was this one time. And then there's some crazy stories. And they're like, there was this one time, she goes, I thought I was sleeping. Her husband took a video of her. She thought she was sleeping next to her baby, and it was just her holding a pillow, cuddling it, the whole like talking to her baby, kissing it, and it was just a body pillow.
Oh my gosh.
But that's motherhood, man. That's
Yeah.
the ebbs and flows.
I think everyone, every mom at one point or another can totally attest to that sleep deprived mode where you're like, wow, I've reached my threshold of
Of
sanity.
Yeah, you start to lose it.
Lose it. Yes, absolutely. I can totally relate to the sleep deprivation. Oh my gosh. My shift I used to come into work at 3:30.
Oh my God,
And
girl.
I got off that shift because I'm like, I can't operate anymore. I would literally be like reading a book to my kids at 4 o'clock, and I'd be falling asleep on the couch. It was not good.
No, there's no way. Oh, I don't know how you
No,
do that.
it's so
Yeah.
hard. It's so hard. Um, so at this point, so your daughter is, you said 5?
5.5. Almost, she'll be 6 in a month. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, is she going into kindergarten?
She's going into kindergarten. Yep.
Ooh,
I know.
you're gonna have some more fun content when she comes
I
home with
know.
stories.
I know. I know. And she is going to be like the oldest. Like she missed the cutoff day by like 5 days. And I
Okay.
just realized she'll be 18 when she starts her senior year of high school. And so
Oh,
now I'm like, she's an adult. Do my rules still play? Like, how's that going to work? Do you know what I
right.
mean? Because I
Yeah,
don't know. That's interesting.
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, that is interesting. Can you foresee yourself continuing, the mom theme for your comedy routine as your daughter grows older?
Oh, absolutely. And
Yeah.
I'm not the comic that makes fun of their kids. I'm the
Hmm.
comic that I'll always do self-deprecating first. But she's such a spitfire girl. She's either going to be like the CEO of a Forbes 500 company or she's going to run her own cartel. Like there's no in between. And so there's no way I can't include motherhood in my content because
Hmm.
it's the cornerstone of my whole life. So, it's who we are. It's like what this
Right.
podcast is.
It changes you forever, right? It's like there's
Absolutely.
no walking, you can't shed it or walk away from it at all. It makes up who you are. It's like you're part of your fabric
DNA.
now.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
your
your
DNA.
DNA. Yeah,
Yeah.
isn't it, you carry your child's DNA around in your brain for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah.
wild, right?
Yeah. And then there's like another biological component the first 7 years. Like, I guess we change our cells or whatever every 7 years. But
Oh,
for
yeah.
mothers, the first 7 years, it's almost like we have what they say, an invisible umbilical cord
Oh my
that
gosh.
I was just like, oh, that's crazy.
And some have a hard time cutting it after
I
seven
know.
years,
I
right?
know. Yeah, I dated some guys that are still attached, so it's fine.
Oh, yeah. No, it happens. There's no age stamp on that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Looking at, where you are today versus when you were just moving into LA, are you happy that you had that experience and that you were able to get there? And it's kind of cool, like full circle, you're a mom, your child's going into school, you're moving back home again. Did you
hmm
ever think you'd find yourself back home?
I I mean, had it not been for her, I probably would not have. But I'm actually really, it's like you said, it's just like refocused all my priorities. And so now I can also be grounded. I mean, in LA, it is a grind.
Hmm.
It's a very different energy. And I think I probably would have kept doing it into my 70s, which I can't even think about now because I'm like, there's a whole other life. There's a whole better life if you just, I don't know, go back to your roots or
Yeah.
the family oriented thing has, when you're in your 20s, you're like,
Hmm.
you're more independent and self focused. But now it's just like, I think it's the best decision that I've made is going back.
And what's great is, you can continue to do what you do no matter
Yeah.
where your home base is, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's what the pandemic showed. I mean, once my husband came, he's great with numbers, he's great with finances. And he goes, you do realize you only make 8% of your income in Los Angeles, but we spend like 97 of it there. And I was like, wait, so can we leave? And he was like, yes, we can
Yeah, those $20 acai bowls really start to add up,
leave.
right?
Girl, they're so expensive.
It's wild. And with your comedy tour, when did the Mama Drama tour begin exactly?
Okay, so we released the special, I want to say March 3rd, and March 3rd or March 6th of 2023. But my daughter had an accident in the middle of my press tour. So
Oh
we had to like
no.
take time off. It's okay. We'll talk about it on the next special. But we had to take quite a bit of time off from that. And so now we're like finishing out that tour now.
Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah,
Which is great because, so many people know you just by name now and, with Netflix and Amazon Prime and everything like
yeah.
that, with the streaming services, it's great how, like I said, we can hop on and check out Mama
Yeah.
Drama and then, oh, wait, she's touring near me. Let's go see.
Yeah, it's so different now. Everything's so
Wow.
different. And the timelines are different. It used to be like you'd have to tour for a year and at the end you do your special and you never do that material again. And now it just kind of ebbs and flows with
Right.
where your tour dates are. Yeah.
And do you bring your daughter with you when you're on tour?
She's with me for the East Coast stuff because
Okay.
she's not in school.
Right.
And then I try to keep it kind of central. Like I'll keep a lot of stuff in the Midwest when she starts school, but I'm taking off probably, just to get her acclimated because it's a big transition from LA to Kansas City.
Yeah.
So I'm only doing like a few shows until she gets settled the first 2 months. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I love how again you're doing your thing, but also at the same time, like your daughter, she's going into school. It's like a really exciting time. What kind of advice do you have for moms out there who, really want to hold their passion and what they love and what lights their fire?
hmm
They want to keep that alive, yet, they want to be uh, the best mom that they can at the same time and be there for their child.
I mean, it's obviously, and you know this, obviously it's a hard balance. However, I think it's so important that she sees me on stage, that she sees me pursuing something. I know one of the things I loved about my mom was going to watch, like, take your kid to school day, being able, she worked in an office. I mean, a 9 to 5, clock in, clock out kind of thing, but she had an office and she would file things. And I remember looking at her and being like, oh my gosh, she is so amazing. And I looked up to her and I got work ethic from her. And so if they don't see that and they just see you giving everything that makes you you and your autonomy away just to be a mother, while that might feel noble, they're also missing out on the part of you that gets to be this independent, thriving female in society. And
Hmm.
so I think it is a balance. Like I'm definitely sacrificing. I'm not going to be on tour, 50 weeks out of the year. However, you know, she's even done stand up. She even told a joke the other day on stage, which was hilarious.
Wow.
And yeah, I mean, she has a speech, thing. So she's like, what's a pirate's favorite letter? And then the audience goes, arg. And she goes, no, I say it.
Cute.
But she's like inspired to, and she has no stage fright because she sees me on stage and like
Right.
she thinks I don't have it, which is great. I want her to think that. But it's because she sees that part of me that still taps into that
That's
autonomy and
awesome.
creativity. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're keeping that alive in her or helping ignite that in her, which is great. And
Oh,
you'll
yeah,
see what she
absolutely.
does with that,
I
which is
know.
awesome.
Exactly.
Oh, and really quick, you're coming to Stanford tomorrow
Yes.
night.
I'm so excited.
Have you been to Stanford before, this
No.
location?
Also, if you have recommendations for what I can do with her during the day, please send them
Oh, okay.
because we're going to spend
Absolutely.
all day there before the show.
Oh,
So, yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm definitely gonna, I will message you
Oh,
after this
great. Oh,
and send you
perfect.
some stuff. And I also want to mention you have a podcast as well called The Funny Thing Is.
Yes.
What can people expect when they tune into that?
That is where we have a guest on every week that shares a life changing experience, the medicine they took to get better, and the funniest lesson they learned along the way. And it started off with mostly comedians, but now we have everybody. In fact, we started getting the what I call the medicine givers. So, like talk therapists, shamans, we have an energy healer, a Reiki,
Oh.
like all of those people come on and try to help you with the medicine part. And everybody kind of shares a again, really vulnerable moment, something bad happened, and here's how I turned it into gold. And that's kind of how every special is, everything I write is, and it's been a lot of fun. That's been a lot of fun.
I love that. And that's how
Yeah.
you're turning everything into gold.
Yeah, exactly.
And for more information, if people want to follow you for the podcast and also your website, social media, where can we send them?
So at Nicole Burch Comedy on all socials and then NicoleComedy.com.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Nicole, for coming on Mommyhood
Awesome.
Unscripted.
Thank you so much. Thank
And good
you.
luck tomorrow night in Stanford.
Thank you. I'm excited.
If you like what you heard, make sure to subscribe to Mommyhood Unscripted. Share it with your friends, too. It's available on iTunes, Google Play, Roku, and everywhere else you get your podcast. I'm Nicole Nalepa. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, Mama, you're doing great.